Hello.
Oh, we're live.
Trying to zoom out. There we go.
Live chat, play. Live chat, play.
Turn the sound off.
Oh.
Because you'll echo.
Yeah, so it's really
Do
laggy.
this without touching the camera.
It's really laggy. There you go.
Right, there's. I'm just going to mic up.
Oh, wow, there's people on there already.
So,
Hi.
good
Hello.
evening, everyone. We're literally going to have a little live chat session about the industry. I'm just turning on the iPad.
Hi, everyone.
So you have to bear with. Obviously, I'm joined tonight by North from the channel North Joycey.
Yes, at the moment, yes.
As creative as ever.
Indeed, yes. You've got any ideas for my channel name?
So we're just
Chuck them
setting up.
down.
How many we got? 42
people. Hi,
I'm
everyone.
really lagging behind.
Wilby Castle, Northwest Train Spotting, Mark White, Anthony, Green Shark. All hi to you, Philip Bletley. Well, we've got Kevin Newbury, Luke, James, Vincent, Josh, David, of course, Railway Boy, Matt Maz, Ned's Trains and Clayton Curry Vlogs. Hi to you all. Thanks for joining us.
Vincent's just said, sorry, I can't. My internet is down for the moment, so I'm running off the cellular. I thought that was going to be I can't watch because I'm off the internet, but there's a comment on the internet.
Yeah, excellent. Well done.
Hi, Alan. Hi, Matthew. Talford, hello. Right, the iPad's working. So, I've got my notes. So, what we plan to do is a sort of brief sort of little chat.
Yes.
Almost podcasty style. And this episode about the current state of the modelling industry, particularly obviously in the UK. We will be periodically looking for questions, answering them, etc. And then I suppose that was a shake.
Sorry, that was me.
So we're periodically taking questions, but we've got some notes written down. So the state of the model railway industry in the UK, if I summarise to where we were, sort of, if I take you back a year, almost 18 months ago.
Which is good for me because that's almost where I started was actually sort of Worley last year. Was my first real taste of the model scene. I'd had engaged before, but I'd just done it myself, very much a cellular thing that I did for me. Didn't really know much about the industry itself. So Worley last year is where I started.
Yeah. I mean, interesting place to start last year because the industry was down in the dumps a little bit.
Indeed, yeah.
I mean, just as a summary for where we were, to take you back, all the major manufacturers were pretty much down in the dumps. You had Hornby with poor management teams struggling for cash flow.
Yeah.
Had bailouts.
Yeah.
Bachmann had factory issues, so they couldn't get models out and they couldn't predict when models were coming out because they were...
No, they were very sort of stationary and sitting on their laurels.
And the general sort of model availability was, I would easily say, probably an 80-20 split in favour of steam.
Yeah, definitely.
And particular older tooling. So that's where we were, and now we're just going to sort of look at where we are and see, has it improved or not? And just go over that, I suppose, is the...
Definitely. It's. I believe it has definitely improved, but we'll look as to why. What are the factors?
So I think some of the main reasons, I presume, I'm going to jump ahead a bit in my notes, but I think the biggest thing that's happened to particularly the model industry is the Great Model Railway Challenge.
Yeah.
So not to harp on about it too much, but because it's on normal telly, it makes it more socially acceptable.
Yeah.
So then people aren't scared and hiding away with a railway in the loft or the shed.
All these nerds. And I'm sorry to anybody because we're all those nerds.
We are still nerds, yeah.
We're all those nerds. But yeah, people often look to people, doing model railways as like, oh, right, just sits in his shed and does his own thing, and every now and then they'd see one and go, oh, wow, isn't it actually quite good? But then they'd forget about it. But on telly all of a sudden
Becomes mainstream.
becomes like people are seeing it and going, oh wow, but they're not only seeing it in the sense of a finished item and go, wow, isn't that good? It's like, oh, they're making it. It's gone from scratch. There's a bare board, and this is what these guys have done in 3 days. I'm not sure that's exactly how they do it, but ostensibly that's what it's set out for. And and it's what they're actually doing. So they're seeing it being built from the ground up, and that I think is where people have understood now more of what the hobby is about, rather than just seeing the end result and going, oh god, the guy's just sitting there playing with trains, which I know a lot of you will be going, I don't play with trains and that. Yeah,
I do.
Fine. Yeah, I do. I play with trains, but you know, regardless of whether you think you do or not, we run trains, and people don't understand it. And I think these television program especially has helped people to understand why people do it, as well as what they're actually doing.
I was going to say, because it's more socially acceptable because it's on telly, then therefore it's more acceptable to go to shows.
Yeah.
And therefore it's more acceptable to have your first set.
Absolutely.
And then of course the marketplace grows with that.
Yeah.
And in theory, footfall into shops, model railway shows, etc., all go up. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
Which then leads on to my next point, which is compared to sort of 18 months ago, how many sort of what you'd class as smaller manufacturers are now mainstream players to almost.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, just to name a few, you've got Hattons, who are bringing out obviously the classic C6. They've got their O-gauge A3 and A4. Yeah. They've got a series of wagons. They're bringing out container wagons next.
I mean, they're taking it by storm, aren't they? And they were essentially just a shop.
Yeah.
You know, just an outlet, internet outlet as well. But yeah, that's what they were doing. They're a retailer, and they've took on board what people were asking for, which at the time, 12 months ago, 18 months ago, the big guys were not listening and obviously struggling with the things you mentioned before. So, you know, Hattons and other people like Curoscale and Cavalax, they were all taking on board what people wanted and then trying to say, well, we'll do it then. So it created quite a lot of competition for the bigger guys, and the bigger guys have been great in the fact that I know they've probably annoyed quite a lot of people throughout the year, from the start of the year, but they've actually taken on board, hey, we've got competition, we need to step it up, and they have, and they are doing now. They're stepping up, bringing things out.
Well, it's creating that competition culture.
Yeah, absolutely, and we're the ones benefiting from it. Because,
ultimately, yeah.
Yeah, because the prices are holding or becoming a general price across the board, rather than some people charging more.
It means at some stage in the process, someone has to sit round at a table and say, we can't charge what we want to because they'll do it cheaper.
Yes.
And people won't buy it.
It's still as good.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely the detail of these things have gone up fantastically as well. So we're win-win for us.
Hopefully. I mean, just to go over a few other manufacturers, you've got Revolution, who of course mainly Engage, but they do some double O. Yeah. They started mainly with wagons, but now they're doing full on, I think it's an EMU or DMU.
Yeah.
You've got a Curoscale, of course, out of nowhere with the sort of Mark V sets.
Yeah.
They're bringing the 92 and a mainstream engine, the Deltic.
Yeah.
Now that I would say is
lots of liveries as well. Yeah. I think off the top of my head, I think it's about 10 different, or 10, 11 different liveries. So.
As soon as that's out, they become untouchable with the Deltic, unless someone wants to throw tons of cash.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a new one. Of course, you've got Cavalax with the Class 91.
Yeah.
But of course, they're doing lots of wagons. They're trying to do Engage as well. So I'd imagine they're a bit of a smaller newcomer, but it's...
They're competitive, so they're doing what people want. So at the end of the day, people are going to go for that, because, as I say, the mainstream guys are picking up now and listening to what people are asking for and saying, hey, we can't just do what we want. We've got to be able to supply what people are after. So, like I say, it's win-win for us. But these smaller guys are doing a grand job, and there's no point in doing what somebody else has done, as you say, with the Deltic and the Curoscale. So yeah, go and pick another one and do that, because there will be people that want to buy them. So
I mean, you've even got I mean, some people I didn't even think would get into doing their own stuff so much, but people like Ellis Clark bringing out a Black 5 and O gauge.
Yeah, awesome.
Obviously, you've got your bigger shops like Rails and Kerno doing their sort of limited edition runs with manufacturers.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's really, it feels like competition is bubbling.
Yes.
Which is a good thing, rather than them all struggling and saying we're cash strapped. There's money there to invest, and they are investing in our industry.
Yeah, and as we say again, it's a win for us, because the amount of things that are available, the types of layouts that we can now do, because we've seen lots of different types of layouts and different eras, and lots of modern image now, and there's a lot more modern image available now throughout this year than there ever has been. We're out of the age of Steam as such, and I love Steam. You know, everybody who's seen me before knows I like my Steam, but I also like my diesels as well. So yeah, and the modern, like my son, you know, he pointed out he's got a Black 5 in N-Gauge, and we'll be building that up.
So parenting fail, that is. You should have bought him an Intercity or something.
Yeah, well, do you know what though? He actually watched the video of the things that we went to. It was your video, and he just saw an EMU and went, "I want that," straight away. So that plan's changed. It's now not era.
It's getting expensive.
It's now not era 4 anymore. It's modern image. So yeah, so all changed there. So and that's great, because he's getting into it as well. He's 8, so bringing in new blood.
I mean, the good thing about all the smaller new manufacturers on the scene, I call them manufacturers, is that it's not because the big ones are down and out.
No.
That is part of the reason why they are here. But I mean, they're not resting on their laurels. I mean, for example, Hornby, obviously with their new management.
Yeah.
I mean, Hornby are very aggressive, almost a very aggressive stance in the industry. They're trying to take back, like they whipped out the Terrier.
They had it. They had it, and then all of a sudden, whatever went wrong. You know, and people like Hattons were coming out and saying, "Well, if you're not going to do it, we'll do it." And Cavalax and everybody else, and then they went, "Oh, crikey!" So we need to step up, and I think that's what comes out with the aggression. It's like, "Hey, that was ours. We want it back," and it's that's good, because it also pushes everybody else to go, "No, we're having that."
It's also good. It's not just blind throwing money at something. So Hattons, as an example, are releasing their newly tooled high detail premium model of the Class 66.
Yeah.
Simon Collar, of course, said, right, well, we need to get straight back in there, and they released almost instantly their railroad version.
Yeah.
Super cheap, super accessible, super affordable, especially to the younger generation.
And great. It was as we tested it, you know, it's a fantastic little model, and you know, yes, it had its struggles with some very heavy wagons, which you can see behind us, and they are very, very heavy wagons.
I mean, it's a £60 model though. Can't really argue.
£60 model that was pulling, you know, quite a few of those, and with some small tweaks that we can all do. There's YouTube videos out there to see how you can tweak it and put a bit of weight into it. Would quite happily pull them. So if you want to mess around with your track, but for £60, couldn't go wrong, could you?
And then I suppose that scenario, if you put it into the industry perspective, it means that, say, Hattons can't be too expensive because they know there's cheaper competition, and then Hornby themselves can't be too expensive because they might as well go for.
Yeah.
And the biggest one I like with that scenario is Bachmann, the people who never move on price and are always premium.
Yeah.
Have dropped the price of their Class 66. So you never see that, but that was a massive win for the consumer.
Yeah, but it's also from the, because I know a lot of people got frustrated with Bachmann because of the lack of bringing out any models that they were promised. That shows they're listening. It shows that they're actually they're actively listening to people and seeing what's out there. They're not just sitting there.
It's listening versus cash flow taking a dip.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But they are making an effort, which is great, and they're making an effort in the right direction.
They need to fight for our custom.
Yeah.
And it did feel for a long time that it was a case of, we're doing this model, it's going to be X amount of hundreds of pounds, you take it or leave it.
Yeah. Exactly.
And you sort of, whereas now it feels we have to be
they're
coaxed
doing
into a
something,
sale.
They're doing something about it. They're realising they can't just sit there and say we are backmen, like it or lump it.
Yeah.
They're actually saying, oh, actually, yeah, we are backmen. Please, hey, look what we can do for this. And great models anyway. So,
I mean, I suppose other to go forward with bigger manufacturers, Dapol, for example, they've got major new 00 and O gauge releases coming up. They're almost bringing out too many. I hope they can do them well. I think they've got things like a 47. I can't remember the rest. Someone will say in the chat what they're doing, but they're doing masses. And again, they're going to establish themselves as a solid manufacturer.
Yeah.
Whereas if you compare it again 18 months ago, this just wasn't a thing.
No.
Maybe there'd be one engine in 2 years. Now, I mean, what they've got 4 or 5, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I like Dapol. I think they're a good manufacturer. So but hopefully they'll keep the quality there, keep the detail, and obviously make them run well. So
it's also nice to see while competition is heating up and the marketplace is busier and therefore busier with new toolings, new models, etc., new liveries. It's nice to see that because the marketplace is getting bigger, it allows more niche products.
Yes.
So you've got things like, the good example is the Oxford Railgun.
Yeah.
I mean, where do you even start with that?
A strange thing to have, but they've done it really well.
It's selling.
It's selling
in all of its 20 liveries.
Yeah.
Which is odd, but
it's odd, but it just goes to show what people want. You can get the same old coaches, especially if you're in that steam era. If you've done that era, you're not going to get anything new because it's already done. So you got what you got, and where do you move on from there? Where do you get new stuff? Or without branching out into different eras, you now need some different things from that era to fill these out. And yeah, Railgun, why not? Absolutely.
It still boggles me that you're having a relative newcomer having to make a Class 91 225 when someone will happily go, yeah, we'll make the Railgun.
Yeah.
You think, how niche is that? But you think the 91 spans so many areas.
I suppose they wanted to be completely different, and they were completely different, but it's worked for them. So, yeah.
Which is part of that new sort of innovation energy that's bubbling in the industry, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously the last sort of 18 months or so hasn't been without its losses. We have seen, I'm going to swear at everyone now, DJ Models obviously caused a big ruckus in the industry, and I think have probably stabbed a lot of the newcomers in the back because obviously they took a lot of people's money, and therefore I do think they caused a blip in buyer confidence, especially with the sort of you've got to pay a deposit.
Yeah.
So I think Accurascale will do it, Cavalax will eventually do it, I presume. Yeah. So that might have hindered, but I think the market is such now that they'll get away with it.
Yeah.
Of course, I think it's the last month or so, the little loco company's gone under as well.
Yeah.
For, I think, very different reasons. From what I've read, DJ Models was probably organisational issues.
Yeah, and I think probably that's the same for the other as well, because,
it's one of those.
Yeah.
Which is a shame.
Yeah.
However, that's why I don't pre-order anything unless it's physically coming or on the shelves, because I just couldn't afford to lose the money.
No, definitely not.
I think other avenues, dare I say it, because if I take a quick glance at the iPad, there's 143 people watching, so thank you very much. We will be taking comments soon.
Yes, definitely.
But that leads us nicely on to the fact of YouTube forever growing.
Yes.
I mean, I've recently had, I think it was either 3-year anniversary on YouTube for New Junction or 3.5, something like that.
Yeah.
And when I started, the channels I was watching, I could count on 2 hands.
Yeah.
And that would be a push. Now, I think I'm subscribed to sort of...
Yeah, it's like 150 or something. Yeah, bizarre, yeah.
I mean, everything's filmed nowadays because whether it be through I suppose, more social confidence now.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
not so.
But yeah, I mean, you know, I film stuff, and I'm absolutely new, and I'm pretty rubbish at everything. But you know, I film it
Aren't we all?
anyway. I film it anyway because my sort of thought was, well, if I'm going to have a go at it, and I'm new, and I don't know what I'm doing, then let's go and do something together that we don't know what we're doing. So all those people out there that are going, oh, I wish I could do that, you can look and go, well, he's doing it, and he doesn't know what he's doing either. So it's working somewhere, and you know that's the lots of people are doing that now, and there's so many people decided, like, actually, rather than me sitting here doing this on my own, I'm going to stick my camera on it just so I can show people. It inspires people, it gives people ideas, gives people ideas on their layouts and stuff, what the thoughts are. People are gaining more knowledge through the YouTubers, you know, because there's a lot of you guys out there that know an awful lot more about trains than I do, and about you know, tracks and how they're supposed to be laid. And that's great because it's such a resource now for newcomers that they're not just worried about, I'm going to go into a train shop, you know, and sort of go, oh, can I have a train set, please? And they're just going to give them this generic, there's a circle and get on with it. They can have an idea of what's available just by watching a few YouTube channels. And
I think it also opens up a massive social aspect for a traditionally antisocial hobby.
Yeah.
So before social media, it would have been one man in his loft in his shed, Sunday afternoon doing it on his own, or maybe a club at most.
Yeah.
But of course now, I mean, how many people do we know just through?
I mean, I've met so many people.
It's endless, isn't it?
Absolutely.
In a good way.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I've met some lovely people, and you know, everybody's got a different opinion of things, and it's nice in the sense that it doesn't matter what opinion people have got. I'm not saying that as, you know, nobody matters, but you can do your own thing. If you want to follow things, you know, straight down the line and do it as it should be, you know, with spacings and everything like that for your sleepers and stuff like that, and it looks absolutely awesome, then go for it. And if you just want to lay down, you know, track that's generic track, and go for it in whatever colour you like, and it doesn't have to be anything. And I think people have found out through YouTube and through this community that you can do what you like, but you'll get help in anywhere.
Whether it be constructive criticism or, I mean, just positive feedback, or even trolling to a point. It's a bit of fun, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. But encouragement from everybody. Go and have a go. And it's been brilliant.
I think that's the most important thing of social media, and especially YouTube, from what it was a couple of years ago, is it's encouraged that have a go attitude.
Yes.
But not only have a go, but have a go and show other people.
Yes.
And it's fine to get it right, get it wrong.
Yeah.
And the people are there to guide you the right way.
Yeah, try doing this, try doing that. And there's so many people that have done that on my channel, you know, which is a small channel at the moment. But and I thank every single one of them, because it's just really nice for people to actually have watched you and comment on what you've done. So fantastic. It's opened them up. And of course, going to these shows as well then, and having YouTube meetups and stuff
which is still a weird thing.
Yeah, but it's nice because people have got something to go for, somebody to meet, and then you start to meet people in person, and you start to talk to these people, and then all of a sudden you've got a group of friends that you never knew you were going to have, which is fantastic. So all good for the industry, really.
Yeah, ultimately, I suppose again,
the hobby.
It makes it more satisfying, and then therefore
enjoyable,
more rewarding.
More socially acceptable as well. Yeah.
Or when we're all together in our weird geeky group.
Yeah.
So if we take a moment now to pause and to go through some of the comments, particularly what you've found to have changed most, whether it be a pro or con in the industry in the sort of last 18 months, 2 years, from where we were. We were in a bit of a dire strait when everyone was seeming to be bailed out, etc. But we're just going to see if the iPad wants to work. No is the answer. There we go. Turn it back on. So Ali Wakeford has said YouTube is okay, but has its ups and downs. In what sense? I presume I would, from my own experience, you could argue good comments, bad comments, etc. But take it on the chin.
Comments, at the end of the day, just comments, whether they're criticisms, it's you still get an understanding of what people are liking or what people aren't liking, and as with your best mates, if they advise you with something, you can take it with a pinch of salt and do it or not. It's entirely up to you. So any comments are good comments, really, because it's useful in helping you to understand what you're doing and move forward from there. So
see, Fred over at Wilbury Castle has said, without YouTube, I'd have never been on the Railway Challenge, because he was obviously in the Shunter guys, and he's put power to YouTube railway modelling. So as a pro, I suppose for myself, I've discovered that no one likes saxophone-based music, but it's my channel, so
yeah, exactly. You like it, exactly.
we're all one.
Indeed. I mean, I've had comments about my music, and I know a lot of people comment about the music on, especially when we've been to a show and stuff like that. And I think just pointing on that from a YouTuber point of view is, I know people do find it annoying. You can't find a piece of music that everyone is going to like. So apologies to anybody who doesn't like the music, but when you go to a show, you focus in on what you're looking at, and you generally only hear that. And when you stick a camera on it, the camera hears everything, including all the conversations next to you about somebody's gammy leg and
Swearing
swearing
and
the kids are going and your camera picks up everything, and you zone out and listen and look to what you're looking at. And so what you remember from a show and the sounds aren't what the camera and the video pick up. So music's essential to put it over these videos. So apologies to everybody who doesn't like the music over the videos, but it is quite an essential thing when you listen back to it.
That turned into a rant.
It did a bit, didn't it? Soz.
I didn't even want to play it. I just do it to annoy people now. Fort Murray's, there's a couple of comments that actually lead on to each other. Fort Murray said, I like the fact that Revolution trains, Cavalax, etc. are bringing out models that the main manufacturers haven't done. Mm-hmm. And then Chris Usher has said, Hornby have missed a trick by not doing a more detailed 91. Now, I suppose to merge those two questions, the interesting point about the new guys doing things like the 91 is the fact that it puts pressure on Hornby to regain that market.
Yeah, let's not
segment.
Let's not redo a railroad version. Let's do a decent version.
Now, if I was to put my house on something, I would say that Simon Collar isn't going to let the 91 escape.
No,
I would imagine.
I reckon that's already in development.
100%.
He's not going to tell anybody until it's absolutely out there, and he'll just get again that aggressive stance. He's just going to hit it right before everybody gets theirs out.
I would imagine, if I was to call it, they're either doing it and they're going to release a half-decent model just before, or they're going to take the old tooling, put it in every livery like the 66, and make it super cheap, and then smash it out.
Yeah,
they'll do something. I think
they will.
They would be really missing a trick.
It's going to be aggressive, whatever it is.
Let's have a look. Matt says the mute button is a wonderful thing. You're exactly right.
It is.
It does make me laugh. But I suppose the problem is, particularly a show video, like you say, with people talk. I mean, the conversations that have ruined the clip.
Oh, yeah.
Because I suppose the camera's up close, but in reality, you're surrounded by 10 other people.
Yeah. And actually, like this, and
we're going a bit off topic here, but
yeah, we are. But it's usually our hand poking through several people all together, and you've got your camera in between it. It picks up their voices very, very easily. And of course, the guys at the back as well that are running it and going, oh no, that's gone wrong. Look, this one's derailed, and it's never oh no. But you can't play it on video.
See, interestingly, Dartware said. Sound, that's made a massive difference to the hobby. Now that's interesting because we've completely forgot.
Yeah, DCC sound
innovation.
It's something that when I first did my my N-Gauge, I basically bought off Maplin's. I think it was a little sound unit that I soldered together, and it basically just went chuff chuff chuff. And I thought that was great because I'd got this little Dapol. Was it 14XX? And I thought it was brilliant because I thought, wow, if only that came from the actual unit, that would be brilliant. Move on and DCC, and all of a sudden it does, and it's absolutely fantastic, isn't it? It creates a whole new atmosphere on your layout, which is it's what the newcomers want, it's what the kids want.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. More interaction.
It's what captures that imagination.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, you twin a sort of, dare I say it, we've been piping on about Modern Image being lackluster, but you take any steam engine, you add sound chip to it, then you add a smoke generator to it.
Boom. Yeah.
Done. We could sit and watch that for hours.
Indeed. And listen to it.
Let's have a quick look. Ashley Harris said he's looking forward to the new Mark V set. Interestingly, as a product that some of these companies are doing, they're quite brave. They're not easy products. They're not just a real tool. They're not a single wagon.
No.
It's almost a very niche product.
Yeah.
You also need a loco, which comes from another company.
Yeah.
So it's a very brave move, but it's I would say definitely working, and it's going to 100% pay off for them.
Well, this is what we're saying as well. The manufacturers now, all of them, the small ones and the big ones, they're all listening to us. They're listening to what people want. People have been asking for them Mark V's for ages. I didn't even know what a Mark V was, but I didn't. And then I found out, obviously, what a Mark V was, and then because people were just asking for them all the time, and it was like, what's a Mark V? And found out, and I was like, oh, right, yeah, there's none about. Who's not making them? Why aren't they making them? It was, as a newcomer, it was quite confusing. I was thinking, why so many people want these and have them for ages? Why are they not being made? And yeah, somebody's finally took it and said, well, we're going to get somebody buying them.
See a few more sound comments. Cotsmore's David has said sound was around when he first started. It's just evolved from a little Hornby box to now inside the loco.
Yeah.
Matt Mazza said sound is really done a lot for the hobby. I still remember a friend of mine telling me about SWD-37 and eventually seeing it when it first came out. He was blown away.
Yeah.
Hooked straight away.
Yeah, there you go.
Sometimes it's all it takes.
It is. It makes it so much more. You just want it more because it's so much cooler. Because I think this kind of industry is fighting against, especially for the younger generation, is fighting against PlayStations, Xboxes.
Technology.
You've got sound, you've got visuals. It's all like bah 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 in your face, all from the telly. But then all of a sudden,
I think you're doing it wrong.
Then I'm not even going to comment on that. But when you've got like a railway and it looks fantastic, and then there's no sound to it, they are still fantastic. But for those kids that are coming into it, they wanted that little bit more, and DCC sound gives it to them, doesn't it?
I suppose this moves nicely on. Tim has said, not having a layout of my own and being a pensioner, you need to be a millionaire to start one now. Prices are crazy. Now that's an interesting one. I didn't really want to divulge too heavily into pricing because that's a separate topic so massively on its own.
Yes.
And I'll probably divide opinion with that. But in terms of pricing, obviously it's expensive and it's a hobby, so it's never.
If you're going to buy the latest stuff that has come out, then yes, it can be expensive. However,
no doubt.
As with the Class 66, the Hornby Class 66, a really good model to have. There are lots of models out there that if you're not going to go for the top of the range, then you can certainly get really good models now that are going to look fantastic on any layout, and with some FlexiTrack and a baseboard, you can make something. We've seen tracks, we've seen little shunting yards so big, in N-gauge that's massive, and even in I've seen one this big in O-gauge. It was a fantastic little yard. It had 2 lanes. It brought little shunters in and out. You can do anything you like, so it can cost what you want. But most of us, when you start out, you think, oh, I want a big, loop and all the sidings and stuff. And yes, that's going to be reasonably expensive, but you can do it cheaply. And obviously, there's a second-hand market as well. So
it's the second-hand market, but not chasing the rocking horse plop item.
Yeah, God, yeah.
So
if
you're
you
never
do
going to
that-
get sort of a limited edition run in a certain livery that they only made 500 of
Yeah.
for pocket money prices, because it's just the nature of the beast. It's like I'm never going to go out and find a limited edition car or motorcycle
I'm
I
going to
want.
say Lamborghinis are still expensive, even when they're old.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So, for example, Tim has said that even the second-hand market has risen over the last few years. I presume he means price.
Yeah.
Now, oddly, now I'm probably a rarity to this because I buy and sell my stock a lot. I've said this a load, mainly to keep the videos fresh.
yeah.
But I've found that because the second-hand market does hold its value, particularly with the sort of harder to find items, it makes it more. I have more buyer confidence, knowing that
Yeah.
ultimately, when I've used it, if I look after it,
You can
I can sell it on
for
for
a reasonable price.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then you've not lost too much. I'd hate to buy an engine and then it'd be worth nothing, like as soon as you
Yeah.
open the box. So you sort of you win some, you lose some with that.
Yeah, I think you do. But I mean, if you're like saving 10, 20, 30, 40 quid on a new product, then you know that 10, 20, 30, 40 quid is going to go a long way to getting some track down. And then all of a sudden you've got something to run it on, and hey ho, you've just started your railway. Go get some grass. So, you know, those little bits, even though it might be a higher price, or that you think it's a higher price, it's good for everyone because, as you say, nobody's losing money, because you wouldn't be buying that many locos if you were losing money, because you'd be keeping them all, and then you wouldn't be able to buy that many.
So I'm going to come off pricing,
Yes, definitely.
because we're going to get sidetracked.
Going to get into a
and
whole
it's going to be a
different
division. Steve Smith from Railway Laser Lines. Hello, how are you? Saw him in Swansea on Saturday.
Yes.
He said 3D printing and laser kits have brought another dimension to the hobby. Nudge, nudge. I think he means because Scale Model Scenery do a massive selection of laser cut stuff,
They
and
do.
also Railway Laser Lines. I'm not that mean. But I suppose, to be fair, you take Scale Model Scenery as an example company,
Yeah.
relatively small, not one-man band, but a smaller team. And Steve, of course, I'm sure you're on your own, Steve, there, or there's a couple of you, and you won't mind me saying that, but
No.
Scale Model Scenery, for example, do very cheap and accessible items, so you can create a railway and not have to break the bank.
Not have to break the bank, but also not have to have immense modelling skills either. It makes getting quality products onto your layout much easier for those beginners again, and the people that we want to draw into the hobby. So it's a win for everyone, really, isn't it? And again, it's technology moving on. We had DCC Sound, and we've got, you know, the laser cutters and stuff to be able to produce these things, and produce them easily, more affordably. So yeah, good thing, definitely.
So I mean, same again. That falls back into innovation has changed the hobby, and opened up new marketplaces.
Yeah,
in that
definitely.
one.
Yeah.
Interestingly for you, because you were saying this to me, Daniel has said if you want cheap, go with American models.
Yeah, it's something I had to look into. They are cheap. They can be
Until
cheap.
you have a rake of 300 of wagons or something.
Yeah, you realise they are cheap. They can be cheap. Again, though, the American models that are cheaper are not DCC fitted or not DC sound. If you want to do that in N, then you can do. I think there's enough room in those. I've not really looked, but again, they are priced quite high, as N are, but I mean it's so much more difficult to put a decent speaker into an N gauge model, and chips and stuff. So they are priced relatively high for what. Yes, they're priced high, but there's a lot of detail in a very, very small thing now, which you can get more running sort of mileage out of your track. But again, it's the same as everything. You can go cheaper, and you can start off, get those American models running, or you can spend £300-400 on some models with DCC sound and some really good chips in there. So
So the other thing we have to take into account is the American marketplace is massive.
it's huge.
It's just not comparable to the UK. So they're always going to have things cheaper because they're producing more. It's the simple economies of scale. So
it's one, a lot of people I know.
if you buy more, everything will get cheaper.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, but I know a lot of people are still. There are some shops over here that do import American things, but they couldn't import because it's a very niche market over here to do an American like Engage and stuff. They can't import everything, so a lot of guys are still paying duties for and getting things shipped from America as well. So costs rise up when you start doing things like that. But again, go for the brand new models. Go for the brand new chips and stuff, and the Paragon sound and etc. Then you're going to pay for it. So
it's remembering that we're sort of going to fall onto pricing again.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do it. I said, but I suppose it's that the manufacturers and the industry are always trying to push brand new items, the latest tooling, the latest this, the latest that. Everything's really expensive.
And so are Jaguar and Ford and everybody else, and everybody else in the country doing anything. They're always trying to push you to buy the next thing because it's industry.
You see, Marcus at Gowerton Parkway has made a very good point that if you shop smartly, the hobby is affordable. I cannot remember the last time I brought something brand new. There are bargains out there to be had at shows and fairs.
Yes, definitely.
Which is 100% right.
Yeah, no, I got my my A3 from a fair and at a very reasonable price, to be fair. So
and of course you
fitted it with DCC sound myself, as you've maybe seen on my videos.
I mean, maybe this is a downside to YouTube or more social media, social interaction with the hobby, is if you see the big layouts that look so accessible, so easy. I mean, you don't know that person's lifestyle.
No.
You don't know what they do to be able to afford all that. But then if you look at that, say a big layout, but you can only have a sort of a TMD.
Yeah.
I mean, just an example, he won't mind me using it. Sam's Trains did a tour of his fleet, and his title was something like My 300 Steam Engines or something like that. Now, I have one steam engine currently at New Junction, so the idea of having 300 is just... And if I was to let that get at me, that would ruin the hobby.
Yes.
Because I could never afford, in my mind, 300 steam engines.
Yeah.
But he won't be buying brand new ones. He'll be buying... No. He'll be shopping around, shopping smart.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and over time.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because I mean, compared to we've got a few engines in Engage, and we've got a few wagons and stuff like that, and it's built up. And you saw it, from after Tings. I bought a box to keep all the Byrons. It's for my son. So once we put it in the box, I realised I needed another box.
Yeah.
So I didn't realise how much stuff I'd actually gathered in Engage coaches and stuff like that. All of a sudden it was like, I should have bought two. Who knew? It starts to build up quick. So if you're new to the hobby and you're watching, don't be disheartened by what everybody else has got. They've built it up over years. So just start out with one and go from there.
Marcus has said he's got 299 steam engines after his aquatic debacle.
I'll be popping around.
However, just to throw that back at Marcus, it did work underwater, so it's 300 still. Yeah. Sorry. Right, so going from the comments, we should summarise this.
Yeah, definitely.
So, in effect, the state of the current model industry compared to 18 months ago, 2 years ago, etc. The biggest bullet points for us are it's now more socially acceptable.
Yeah.
So therefore, marketplaces are bigger.
Yeah.
YouTube and social medias, Instagrams, Facebooks, etc.
Influential in every way, and to new modelers and to industry as well, with them watching YouTubers and seeing what people want and responding to it. Brilliant.
Bringing people together.
Yeah.
People who wouldn't ordinarily meet.
No, definitely.
I suppose because it's more socially acceptable, there'll be more modelers in the marketplace. So therefore, the market is bigger.
Yeah.
So therefore, it will drive the manufacturers to come out of the woodwork,
and with more products for us to use, better products, then better models.
I think with more competition, manufacturers have to I suppose, think more carefully. It's not a case of we're doing that, take it or leave it. It's now, right, what is going to crack the system?
What do these want? Yeah.
So they have to listen to target markets.
Yeah.
So yeah, competition is better. Prices are more thought out. Yes, that's a good word to put, competitive.
Yeah.
I think quantity, there was a horrible, there still is in some avenues. I think, Hornby are bad for it in the sense they'll release 500 of something or 1,000 of something and then sell out.
Yeah.
Now that keeps prices up, keeps second-hand prices up.
Yeah.
It drives people to rush to buy things, which is a very good tactic. I think the industry did need that.
Yeah.
However, I do think nowadays they're going to have to make more stuff.
They are. But I suppose, looking at tooling and things like that, tooling is never cheap.
No.
Tooling is a really expensive thing to buy. So it's something that they, like you say, they're having to be very careful about what they're bringing out, because get it wrong and you've got a very, very expensive lump of metal there doing nothing. But like I say, listening to people, knowing what people are wanting, knowing what people are looking for, then that risk is getting taken away from the manufacturers a little bit more, because they've got a bit more of an idea of, we're not just making this up and saying, oh, there's one, we'll do that. They're going, everybody's asking for this. So hopefully they will start to be a bit more confident in ordering that tooling and getting this thing sorted.
Because it's a lot of money. People do forget.
Yeah.
The investment level is massive.
Yeah. If you wanted to make one yourself, and other than scratch built in brass, it would still cost you a lot of money, but it would cost you an inordinate amount of money that you'd probably end up selling your house about 5 times just to get the tooling sorted and the R&D on that. So, yeah, it's not a cheap thing to make.
I do think the industry probably could communicate a bit better with the end user.
Definitely.
They do in certain avenues. I mean, all the major players now have their own channels, their own social media teams, etc. So the message is quick to get to you.
Yes. Use YouTube. Manufacturers need to use YouTube to find the people that are or the target market, really. We're here, so yeah, use it.
But all in all, I want to, dare I say it, touch wood, touch something, a much healthier place than we were 2 years ago.
It's massively different to when I walked in to Worley last year and I started, and it was
bit
almost
doom and gloom.
It was a bit nothing wrong with Worley. Worley was a great show, absolutely loved it. But yeah, the whole sort of vibe was very sort of bitty, and it was fighting for tiny little bits here and there, and then massive gaps in what people were looking for. And now things are just coming out. People are going, yeah, definitely, I want that, and pre-ordering. So it can't be bad. It's a good place to be at the minute.
Yeah, so
Definitely.
Positive.
Yeah, absolutely positive. Yeah, well done, everyone, manufacturers and YouTubers and hobbyists alike.
So all in all, something to look forward to.
Yeah.
Right, so that's pretty much our summary of the current state of the model railway industry. It's getting better.
Yes.
We will go over to the live chat for any questions or comments now for a couple of minutes, and then we'll go and get the kettle back on.
Barry here says, what is it? I like transport. Does IC82 still exist?
Yes, he uploaded a video the other week.
Yes.
And you now have to join his website if you want to get your stock back.
Right. That's good.
Let's have a look. Tim has said, what can Hornby and Bachmann do to make the perfect model? You have sound and almost perfect detail on nearly all models these days. It's hard to predict innovation until it's happened.
Yeah.
I find. I have heard a rumour. Now you heard it here first. Wow, I need more coffee. Opening and closing doors, automatic ones.
Wow.
Are on the cards. You can get them already, but that is a mainstay thing.
Part of you have DCC sound and
opening and closing doors. So imagine your train pulls in,
doors open.
However, that then falls back into the argument of if the marketplace thinks the average price of new things is expensive now,
Yeah.
we're not ready for that innovation yet. It's going to be when that marketplace drops a bit.
Accepts
then-
that's the level we're at. Then
Yeah.
then here's the new stuff that's going to cost a little bit more. Yeah, definitely. Interesting.
Marcus said DCC smell. Nice bit of diesel whiff.
Yeah.
You could just have
funny, that would.
you could just have like a little petri dish full of diesel in your
Yeah,
loft.
you could do. That would be. I'm not sure what you do with steam. That might be a little bit dangerous. With some burning coal.
Well, you can get that. You can get scented smoke
Candles.
generators. Scented candle. Yeah. My layout smells of cotton.
This is an A3. An A3 candle.
Who knew an A3 smelled of fresh washing? Let's have a look. Warrington Transporter has said, would you guys do the Great Moderowie Challenge? Interestingly,
Yes, I would
Would
just
you?
for a laugh, yeah. You haven't seen my modelling, but might as well.
now for those of you who didn't see it, I did the Worley Mini Moderowie Challenge
yeah.
with Everard Junction against some of the other well-known YouTubers out
Yes, New Junction and Everard Junction, and you...
there. Lost.
Sorry.
Well,
But that's quite funny, because two of the best modellers out there.
you say best.
Well,
there are
I mean, you know,
massively
there's
better
massive,
models out
loads of you are really good models,
the
but
competition was steep.
it was very, obviously.
I mean, yeah, Callum cheated, but we won't go into that. And the judges were bribed.
Not by Richard. Or Richard.
Yeah.
They didn't think of it first.
But no, I did that, and that was 5 hours of modelling a sort of diorama the size of an A4 piece of paper, and the pressure was massive. I didn't realise how bad it would be, so I don't think I would go on the show.
Yeah, I would.
I'm
just
not good
because
enough.
I would, and I'm not good enough. I mean, don't get me wrong, my modelling skills are very new. But however, I'd go on it just because it's a bit of fun, isn't it? I mean, I think you've got to take it with what it is. You're trying to make an entire, you know, people spend years, 10 years making up a model, you know, and yeah, you're going to do it in 3 days.
See,
That
Berry,
just sounds like fun.
Berry has said you guys should have won that. I think your model was great.
Excellent.
That's not my other profile, by the way. I'll just- Messaging on the side.
We'll double check that.
Let's have a look. But yeah, so I couldn't do the TV show.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether I could do the TV show. I probably would just say yes and then go, oh.
See, there's a couple of people in the live chat this evening who have been on it.
Yeah.
You've got Amory Junction, who is on the current series, who's on the last episode.
Yeah.
And then you've got Wilbury Castle Fred, who was on the Shunter guys on the first one. Marcus has said, you're not good enough, Richard. Have you seen some of the stuff on there? Yeah, but I tend to make things look good on camera. In reality, it's
They
a
look
bit...
good. They do look good. They do look good. Stu Smith has said, I'm thinking about starting my own layout. So welcome, Stu.
Hi, Stu.
In my loft, what's the best guidance you can give me? Double O or bigger? Budget. If you've got it and you've got the room in your loft, then O gauge would be fine, but you do need large radiuses.
Okay.
They are large, and the radiuses need to be quite a lot bigger than what you'd be used to with a double O gauge. So check your sizes, check how you can get an O gauge in there. If not, stick with the O gauge. If you want a long running track, just try N. Best thing to do would be go around to some shows, go to Worley and have a look at, you'll see all the different sizes there. You'll see 5-inch gauge as well, but I'm sure you won't want that in your loft. But you'll see all sorts of sizes.
I'll go to bed with 5 inches. Sorry.
Swiftly moving on. Yeah, have a look at some of these shows. Go to the shows, meet people, speak to people. Everyone's friendly, so go along, have a look, see what you like. See what type of image you want to do, whether you want to do steam mirror or go into modern image. So yeah, just have a look and see what space have you got. first, and what budget have you got? Because O gauge can be expensive. So can double O. Depends what you want.
You see, a lot of people ask me, what would I do if I was them? And I would always say rule one applies, model for yourself. Because ultimately, you're the one who's in your loft, in your shed, in your spare room.
There's no point having something that somebody else is going to like, because people will like it, but you have to like it because it's yours. You're going to sit there playing with it, or driving trains around. You're going to be doing all the work on it. It's going to be there for you, so it's yours. Share it with everybody. People will like it, people will dislike it, people will make comments about it, they'll criticise, and they'll make constructive criticism and try and help you out in places, but ultimately it's yours. Do what you want.
Ultimately,
yeah.
I mean, you could take a leaf out of my book, for example, and I have just installed, probably rather stupidly, this second layer. And because I fancied having a dabble with O gauge, I've now got O gauge track halfway around it.
Yeah.
And as you can just see next to me, there's a train just there. But that's for future issues, future videos. But just model what you want.
Yeah, do what you want. Bob, N-Trains?
N-Trains, Bob?
Yeah.
War of the Worlds.
War of the Worlds. Why not? Absolutely awesome. Fantastic.
And his next one will be a Star Wars theme.
Yeah.
And then a 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea theme, not with real water, because that'd be silly.
Really?
Apparently.
They'll run.
Let's have a look.
So yeah, do what you want, Stu. Have a look. Just look at the size of what you've got and see what you want to do. Whatever takes your fancy, mate.
See, Robert Scott's put, I've been collecting for years and now have over 100 locos. My problem is planning the track. I find that because I don't collect locos as such. I have my core fleet.
Yes.
That I like my LNER / Virgin HST and the Northern DMUs, for example. But I don't collect them like a lot of people. That's a big side to the hobby, I've noticed.
Yeah, it is. Like I say, it's horses for courses. You do what you want to do, don't you? If that's the type of thing you like doing, collect away. I'm more, I suppose, a bit more like you in the sense of I have a few things that I actually want and want to keep, and those are the locos I'm going to go for, and then I'm going to use my my layout rather than keep adding to the fleet as such, because I know I can't keep adding to the track. So,
see, Polly has made a very good point. Always worth looking into the garden layouts for space.
Yeah, definitely. If you want to go big, garden. Yeah,
that's an interesting one because new houses, new builds now aren't having big gardens. So make the most of it if you've got one.
Yeah, definitely.
St Michael's Hill, Richard, hello. He's asked a very very good question. Whose layout from YouTube would you like to have as your own?
Crikey. Mine. I haven't got one yet, but
I'll say you haven't got one.
No, but
you could have anyone's on YouTube, and you picked your own. You already own that.
Yeah, I do.
He won't be back next week.
I don't know. I like Mouldy Raspberries, actually. I think
the Yorkshire Dales.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic, and it's so simple of a sort of a single line with passing loop and station, but the scenery is fantastic. I think it's everything I'd kind of want.
See, interestingly, without going down the obvious route of selecting certain people who are fairly obvious,
going to say.
The most satisfying layout I've ever got to have a go on was an American layout called CSX Wrensville.
Wow.
And I got to have a go at that last week. It's just a shunting yard, but it was done so well and worked so easily.
Yeah.
All the points were wireless to the controller. It had automatic uncouplers, so you could shunt easily. It was just a dream.
Yeah. Functionality over.
It I don't know. It was just really satisfying to sort of run trains on it, and so that would be my layout. Yeah. That was different. You weren't expecting that. You wanted me to say Everard.
Yeah. Nobody did. Although Everard is absolutely a fantastic layout, as everybody knows, and Yeah, if you're going to give me one, yeah, absolutely. I'd have Everard's joined to New Junction, joined to everybody else's, and have one massive warehouse full of tracks that just join together.
Marcus has said last time I operate Bradwell's Point. Of course, I got to have a go at that at the Great Central Railway
Yeah.
model railway show. And if I remember, I think I crashed. I couldn't get the things to uncouple. But then that's not down to user error. Obviously, that's down to the quality of the layout, which is
yeah. I'll go with that.
yeah.
Next question.
Next question. Matt Slade, I have 3 layouts. I need to stop spending so much money.
No, you don't.
No, you really don't.
Keep going. 4th on the way.
Now, interestingly, with Matt Slade, you see, over the weekend, while he was sunning it up on holiday, I met Steve, who is the chap who helps him with his layouts and feeds the madness.
Well done, Steve.
Which is just nuts. He's telling me all like, oh, need to build this, need to build that.
And you do.
Let's have a look. Coalbridge Junction, your videos are great. Please keep them coming. Are you going to Worley exhibition in November? This year would be great to meet you and say hello. Yes, we're going to Worley. There will be a YouTuber meet-up for lots of other YouTubers, so you can meet more than just me.
Yeah.
I'm a bit like a bad rash. I tend to go to quite a lot of shows.
Yeah.
So I'm everywhere. And we're also at Getz this year as well. Yeah. So for those of you who can't or don't want to go to Worley.
Yeah. Great Electric Train Show.
Yeah. Let's have a look. Any more questions? Because we're going to call it soon because I need another coffee.
Amory Junction, yes, I'm still making more layouts and I'm currently on 5. Well done, you. 10's on the way, double figures, go for it.
Anthony's said it. It's not Miniature Wonderlands layout. That's the big place in Germany with the working airport.
Oh, yeah. Crikey, yeah.
We missed a trick with that one.
Yeah.
Here's me with the bloody TMD, and you could have had all that.
Definitely.
Ewan trains once New Junction, so
yeah.
I don't know how this works. Do I put it in the post or?
Yeah, we'll try and pack it up for you and get it to you straight away. Ewan, well done. Congratulations on the winner of that non-competition.
It will be in a sealed envelope with one stamp. You might have to
be popped through your door, so just be careful what you made your door out of.
Warrington Transporter said, I've never been to Worley, is it worth going?
Yes.
Now, it's the biggest model railway show in the UK. Now, last year, and presumably this year will be the same, they have 150 layouts, and they have 90 traders. It is huge.
If you don't like crowds, pop up on Saturday afternoon or Sunday, because on Saturday morning, unless you're specifically after something, everybody goes on Saturday morning and they burst in, flood through with a wave of people, and all the bargains go. But it's just fun. I went for the first time last year. Very inspirational. You see so many layouts. It really does help you get your head around what you like, what you don't like so much. Very worth going. Yeah, seeing all the retailers and all the layouts. Yeah, go once. Even if you don't go again, go once. It's worth it. Definitely.
Interestingly, though, Alexander Palace.
It's a long walk up a very big hill.
Is it A French? It said wrong way round. It's 90 layouts, 150 traders. It might be, but Ali Pali, that was something like 30 layouts to 90 traders.
Yes.
And that was a very different experience because there were so many traders to layouts.
Yeah.
But
Warranted it is rammed. Yeah, it is. Indeed.
So last few questions because we've been on just over an hour now.
Oh, yeah.
The 700 shunter said, what was your first locomotive?
It was a Prairie Tank N-gauge.
Mine was an Intercity 225 Hornby set.
Actually, I lie, it was a Deltic when I was about 7.
Did they make them back then?
It was Lima one.
Was the real Deltic out at that point? You were fighting the Germans when you were 7, weren't you?
Check him out. I'm only 104.
Let's have a look. You and I met you at Ali Pally, of course
Yeah,
you did, yeah. That was fun.
Does Wally get rammed to the roof? No, the roof's really far away.
It is busy,
It's
especially
very busy.
Saturday morning, but it does quite enough.
But by the time you get to about 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon on Saturday, there is space to walk where they wouldn't have been before. So it is just Saturday morning is completely and utterly rammed. You'll get elbowed, you'll get pushed.
I think they have. This year they had something like 14,000 people.
Yeah, and I think they all turned up on Saturday morning and went straight in. Some hung around later on.
It's not like they're not expecting the crowds. So the aisles are massive.
Oh, they're huge. Yeah, the aisles. The aisles
bigger than a supermarket sort of aisle.
Yeah, the aisle. If it's laid out the same as it was, the aisles have got to be about 15 feet wide. So there's plenty of room to walk. It's just a lot of people first thing. But yeah, it will die off. So if you really don't like crowds, then just turn up a bit later or pop up on Sunday, and you'll have a much nicer experience of it.
And Timbersurf says Wigan is up soon and better, same traders, top layouts, etc. So I mean, if you're generally up that way,
yeah.
I was hoping to go. I know David's going, Cottesmore.
Yeah.
So
might be able to shoot on up there.
Well, that's the problem. I mean, I'm based in the Midlands. We're based in the Midlands.
Yeah.
As if you've just come up.
Yeah.
But, so we sort of have it lucky that for the sake of a couple of hours driving, you can get pretty much anywhere.
Yeah. 2 hours to London and 2 hours, 3 hours to York, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we can kind of get quite a lot. Yeah.
Right. So
looking forward to Gets, etc. Well, I think we've exhausted our chat. I hope everyone's enjoyed it. So
it's a bit. The aim was, I suppose, especially for the beginning part, to be a bit of a sort of podcast that you can have maybe on in the background while you're modelling or something. But
yeah, definitely.
Obviously with a bit of live chat at the end.
Yeah.
But let us know what you think in the comments, etc. If you'd like to see more sort of industry-based conversations, feel free to let us know.
Good or bad.
Both, yeah.
Constructive criticism is taken. Everything's taken. So.
Or just outright trolling. I mean, I don't mind it.
Don't mind. Just
skin off my nose.
Say what you like. Say what you like. Let us know.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for being here with us. We've enjoyed it. So
I've enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It's not too uncomfortable actually sat on the loft floor.
No, it isn't. No,
I was right to bring cushions.
Oh, you were right to bring the cushion. Yeah, definitely. Because I think I'd have been a bit uncomfortable. But no, absolutely brilliant. So thanks all for spending your time with us.
There's been consistently over 140 people. I saw 160 at one point.
It's fantastic.
Bit nuts.
Yeah, indeed.
It should all be in bed.
Yeah, we should probably be in bed, but
not together.
Not together.
That was almost awkward.
Well, yes, almost. We're in the loft.
On that note,
there's no bed off here. Well, we haven't put in the mattresses yet.
Right, so I'm going to unhook myself because this is the problem with live streaming.
Yeah, he's now got to get to the camera, which we're in front of. So
we're behind a massive wire.
Bye, Rich. Yeah, we've not got as much room as we may look like we have.
So I'll say see you later, and thank you very much for tuning in, and we'll join you in the next one.
Yeah, take care, guys. See you later.
But you've got to keep them talking while I turn it off.
Oh, right, okay. So I'll answer questions. Right, great stream. Thanks very much, Philip Page, Dragon Junction. Thumbs up, brilliant. I'm glad everybody's enjoyed it. So 3, 2, 1, we're gone.
Take longer than that.
Oh.